We're live. Yo, yo. We're live on Instagram. We're now live on Instagram.
We are now live.
We're live on YouTube and Facebook. We're live on Instagram. What is up, everybody? I just got done doing some MMA, some boxing practice with the guys. Feels pretty good.
Good.
Feels pretty good.
He smells like he did MMA stuff.
Oh, yeah? Sure enough. I had some water in here, so we'll get that real quick.
How's everyone doing today? How's your week going so far? What's up, you rock stars?
How's everybody doing? So today, I thought we would start off the conversation with a little discussion about intensity versus volume training. This is a section in the appendix of my book that I'm writing about right now, so it's top of mind. So I thought we could dive into intensity versus volume training. I'll
let you dive into that.
You let me dive into it. All right, so real quick definition.
First of all, I'm so glad Robert got his water. That's actually my water bottle.
I'm all dry. So a lot of people, the debate between which is most important, intensity versus volume training, is about as chaotic as the debate between high fat or high carb. I mean, there's people on both ends of the spectrum, and like most things in life, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. From a high level view, some basic concepts or definitions, I guess. Volume is the amount of reps times the amount of weight times the number of sets that you're doing in a given workout. So the volume of your workload in a training session. So for instance, you've got my phone, but say I've got 135 pounds for 4 sets at 10 reps on bench press. I would just simply multiply all those out, 135 times 10 times 4, and that would be my volume trained for that exercise that day. And a lot of people say the higher that volume, the better. The more volume you get, the better. The trade-off is the higher the volume you go, generally speaking, the less intensity you'll be able to do. For instance, I could do 135 pounds on bench press for a ton of reps and rack up a lot of volume, but I can't do 255 pounds for near as many reps. So my total volume would be much, much lower if I'm targeting a 255 pound bar on the bench press, but my intensity in that set would be much higher because it's much harder for me to push 255 pounds for a few reps than it is for 135 pounds. So the trade-off then becomes, do you want to be more taxing on the muscle for a given set with a heavier weight, or do you want to simply go with the lighter weights at more repetitions for more volume? And like I said, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. So I like to do, generally speaking, about 4 to 5 sets per exercise. And I like to keep the rep scheme somewhere between 5 or 6 reps if I'm going very heavy, or 12 to 15 reps if I'm doing a little bit less weight. But I like to have sets with any given exercise in which I do go very heavy and sacrifice some reps so that I can really push that rate of perceived exertion. So basically, the Rpe Score is your rate of perceived exertion. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard and intense was that set? If 355 is my max on bench press, then I'm not going to be able to do 315 for very many reps. I mean, a couple reps on a set of 315 is going to be a pretty high perceived rate of exertion because there's not going to be much left in the tank. So that would be a very intense set if that were, in fact, my max. So again, you don't want to do a trade-off in which case you're only focusing on the weight and you're not having hardly any volume, and you don't want to go on the other end of the spectrum in which you're doing a ton of volume at the expense of very little intensity. So everyone's going to have kind of their own sweet spot in there, but I like to keep things between like the 5 and 12 rep count usually.
Great explanation. I felt like that was really in detail. Like that was a good explanation of it.
Really? Nice, sweet of you, babe.
Sometimes.
That talk of intensity and volume really make you attracted to me?
Oh, gosh. Hello from Ireland. That's
Ireland.
Fun.
Very cool.
Dylan asks, what kind of weight difference between heavy and hypertrophy? You're really going to want to push yourself either way. So if you have a a rep amount of 20, you're definitely not going to be able to do as much, but you're going to have to figure out what that weight is for your body. It's not going to be like 50% or 20% or anything like that. I guess you could do that, but then you may not be pushing yourself. So you really kind of have to play around with that and see kind of where your baseline is for hypertrophy and for a heavy lift.
Yeah. You don't ever, like, generally speaking, though, you want to make sure that you're pushing the intensity of a given set so that your rate of perceived exertion is not 5 or less on the scale of 1 to 10. Like, you want to be pushing yourself enough to give your body stress and reason to grow.
Mm-hmm. Asner Cindy is on here, and she said, yes, it was great.
What's up, Asner Cindy? How are you doing? It was awesome seeing you the other day at the conference.
It was.
We truly do miss you.
The other day, we mean as in last month, almost a month ago.
When was the conference? What day? Mid-September?
I think it was like the 21st or something.
Oh, mid-August. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Triple G says, Savages. What's up, man? Preach it. Yes, indeed. Hungry Heath. Howdy from Houston. What's up, Heath? How are you, brother? We got any more questions on there?
Not over here. It's a slow Wednesday, guys.
Come on, throw some questions. I was pretty late in publishing the Live at 5 graphic on IG.
So was I. Yeah, I didn't know what the graphic was, or I didn't know what the topic was this week.
Yeah, I just kind of pulled that one out. But throw some questions. Throw some questions our way. I've got a podcast going live on Friday that's with a client of mine, Jen Patero, and she is doing her second bodybuilding competition. So we dove into that on the podcast. I'm super excited about that one going live.
Cardio before or after a heavy workout? Before.
Really?
I mean, no, after. You should warm up before a workout, but you should actually do, if you're going to like do intense cardio, do it after your workout. That was totally backwards in my mind.
Yeah, crystal backwards.
Crystal backwards. Yeah, because you don't want to sacrifice your lifts because you're already exhausted from doing the cardio that you've done.
Yeah.
What have you found for you to put on more lean mass? What have you found for you to put on more lean mass?
That's Jared Thomas in the building. Well, you got two very newborn sons, man. I would think that if you carry one of those in each of your arm, then you'll work on your bicep peaks quite a bit. That should be a pretty good hack for lean mass. But just simply eating at a surplus, making it good, clean, quality sources, and training more. A lot of people think there has to be this big difference between putting mass on with a ketogenic diet versus putting mass on with a carbohydrate diet, and there's no difference. Like, it's just quality foods at a significant enough surplus that you can build more tissue optimally, and training properly. And
then consistently challenging your body with your exercise that you're doing.
Yeah.
Training while fasting.
I think training while fasting, it depends why you're fasting. Like, if you're trying to, it just depends why you're fasting. Like, a lot of people don't like the idea of training because it's harder. I mean, if you're not fueled, it's harder. And if they're trying to focus on it from an autophagy standpoint, they're trying to simply clear blood glucose. If you're trying to clear blood glucose and glycogen stores, then training while you're fasting is going to be much, much, much more effective.
I think it also depends on how long of a fast you're talking about. So if you're only doing like you ate your last meal at 5 p.m. the night before, and then you're working out first thing in the morning, that's what we used to do. We just recently switched our workouts, but we were doing it in the morning, and the only thing we had before is a cup of coffee with heavy cream. So if you're talking about like a short-term fast, totally fine. If you're talking about an extended fast, I would say it depends on how many days you are fasting, how you're feeling, and both fasting and exercising is a stress on your body. Both can be a good stress on your body, but making sure that it's not too much for your body all at the same time.
Yeah.
I have a great strength trainer. Strength trainer here for upcoming powerlifting rookie competition, but he has absolutely no clue about an eating plan with someone that's been low carb for 5 years. What do I do?
Well, if you have a couple options. I don't know what this guy's like, but if you just tell him, hey, look, I'm not going to follow your meal plan, I'm going to do my own thing, they may take offense to that. So if they take offense to that, that's not cool. You could just not tell them that you're going to do your ketogenic, carbless protocol, and not tell them that you're not going to follow his protocol. as far as like actual technique, as far as what to do, I've had a lot of powerlifters and endurance athletes follow a protocol pretty similar to what I do from a competition prep standpoint, which is to simply have a refeed the night before that is consisting of about a 30% increase above your baseline calories. That's going to be a little bit different if you're eating at a maintenance or surplus currently, but if you're in a deficit, a 30% increase beyond that with proteins and fats should be totally fine. If you're eating at a maintenance right now or a slight surplus, which you probably are if you're doing powerlifting, then just simply a 10 or 20% bump would be fine.
Mm-hmm. Jared said, haha, in regards to volume versus intensity, what have you found most of your strength or your lean mass gain with? I think it's like a really good mixture of both.
Yeah,
we do mix it up
very. It is both. I like training intensity. Like I like going heavy. I like lifting hard, but at the same time, I like lifting heavy for as many reps as I possibly can. I mean, I like going over and doing deadlifts at, 225, sometimes for 30, 40 reps just to see if I can do it. I don't do that often because that would tear my back up, but every once in a while doing something like that's it's fun to me.
This was in regards to the fasting, and they're doing it for weight loss.
I don't ever really recommend fasting for weight loss. That may be a controversial thing that ruffles a lot of people's feathers, but I don't ever recommend fasting with the intention of weight loss. I do intermittent fasting daily, but you don't have to fast. I would argue that it's not optimal to fast if your goal is weight loss because it's too much of a stressor on the body, especially if you're already in a deficit. It's not going to be optimal from a lean mass retention standpoint. So yeah, I don't recommend fasting when the primary goal is weight loss.
Working hard on body decomposition, maybe recomposition. How much fat and carbs are considered baseline for a 56-year-old male?
Are you going to answer these questions or are you just going to let me answer?
I'm going to let you answer them.
I would need a lot more context before I could tell you exact macros. As far as the carbs go, you don't need any carbs really. Like you can do 0 carbs, you can do 20 carbs. I don't ever really think anybody needs to go beyond 20 or 30 grams of total carbs. Even if you're eating a lot of calories, the trace carbs from the foods that you're eating are going to add up to about 20 or 30 anyways. So there's no need to go beyond that, especially intentionally beyond that.
Adam is asking how many times you ran that sandbag in the new gym. I have not done it at all.
I haven't run the sandbag, but the other day I put the bands on the bar in the rack so that it was at about yoke height. And then Dylan and I were tossing the sandbag over the bar, like picking it up, put it over. He'd pick it up, put it over. And we did that quite a few times. So that was nice.
Excellent information.
Thank you. Tommy says, thanks for emailing me back. I emailed WNBF to see if they had any shows on the calendar for my area. Nice. I'm a little bit behind on my emails, so if you've already responded back to me, I haven't seen that yet, but I will check that out as soon as I do see it. But yeah, WNBF is my preferred federation. So if they do have shows in your area, that would 100% be the direction I would go. Anything else over here?
No, nothing for right now.
We're on a roll, baby.
On a roll.
I still have to get my run in today.
Oof.
That we just got done doing a bunch of boxing. So Wednesdays are going to be our off days from resistance training. And Chip, our media guy, he's big into MMA and boxing and everything. He's got a punching bag. And Crystal and I went and got some wrist wraps and some gloves. And Chip put us through a little boxing session today. And feels pretty good. I'm about ready to totally different from a conditioning standpoint to what I'm used to, but it feels good.
Very nice. Light or heavy bag that you guys are tossing?
We were tossing the 100-pound bag, which is the lighter one.
The heavier. Oh no, that is a
yeah. I think the heavy one's like 150.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, new account. What was your old account?
That's the cult.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep.
You got a new account, or did you just change your name?
I think she has 2 now.
Okay.
I think she has 2. Don't quote me on it. Any more questions? Yo, we need some more questions. Any more questions?
And maybe a question for next week as well.
Yeah. Why are you not very talkative today?
I don't know.
You feel okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. You take a nap?
Yeah.
Took a nippity nap? You went home and took a nippity nap?
Robert, what is this with my hair right now?
I love you, baby.
After training session, what would you suggest? As far as food or recovery or
Yeah. Let us know
Cardio.
what you're referring to.
Mhm.
But you don't have to eat a meal immediately post-workout. Like a lot of people believe that there's an anabolic window of 20 minutes, and if you don't get a protein shake in right after your workout, then all your gains are wasted.
Mhm.
And that is certainly not the case. So don't worry about that if that's what you're asking.
We do recommend eating, within an hour or, within a couple hours of your workout and making sure to get in some fat and protein.
Especially if you're in a deficit.
New account. This one is health. The other is family and school. I need your request though, Crystal. I messaged you. You need my request.
I think it's a private account, so you have to message a request to be.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. Coffee talk. I wonder how many pods you use per coffee. 2.
2 pods with the Nespresso. Did our Nespresso come in today?
Nope.
Nope. Nespresso is thebomb.com. We have a Keurig here at the office, but I like the Nespresso so much better.
They're talking about food after your workout. Yeah, so just choose some nutrient-dense foods, preferably some sort of meat or eggs or something like that, that's going to have plenty of fat and plenty of protein to recover from your workout and get you moving for the rest of the day.
Here we go. How did you guys meet? Well, let me tell you.
That's a good one.
So she worked at a coffee shop, and I like coffee. So I was driving by my truck, had my cowboy hat on, and she saw me and she was like, "Whoo, doggies, that's a good looking cowboy
It's
right
not
there."
at all how it happened.
That's not how it happened?
No.
You want to give the real deal?
I mean, it kind of is how it
happened like that, yeah.
But it didn't. It did not. So I did work at a coffee stand, and Robert would come through like every single day, like 50 times a day, because he does drink a lot of coffee. And after a little bit of time, I knew he was going to ask me out. I was just like, I called my sister and I was like, this guy's about to ask me out. What do I do? And
You
so
say yes.
And then, because I was really thinking not. I was like, he's a little bit too full of himself. I don't think I can go with that. I did not know that he was a bodybuilder because it was a stand. Usually people come up in their vehicles and you don't really see their body. And the other girls at the stand were like, oh, have you seen his Instagram? Yeah, he does the whole bodybuilding thing. And I was like, ugh, like how disgusting. What a repulsive human being. And little did I know he was a sweetheart. So when he did come ask me out one day, I said yes. And then that was history. I will have you guys know that was the best first date I'd ever been on in my entire life.
It was the only first date I ever been on.
How are you guys doing settling into the new building? Thinking of you.
We're pretty much settled in. We have a few little odds and ends to do still. Like we're painting the front entranceway. We're painting some door trim. We're putting things together still, but we're almost moved in. We're going to film our new Compound 2.0 walkthrough video this week for the YouTube channel. So I'm super excited about that going live.
Here's a reverse dieting question. If you want to reverse diet and you are all over the map with daily calories, can you just start low and increase from there? I would take the average of what you are eating. If you're super high one day, super low one day, like let's just say I have no idea what you're eating. I'm going to just take a guess. Maybe one day is 1,500 calories. The next day is 2,500 calories. The next day is 2,000 calories, something like that. I would try to take the middle and try to take a healthy amount. So if you're like 15 and then 2,500, maybe go with 2,000 and see if that is doable for you. You can start on the lower end of things if you don't think you can get that much in consistently daily. So if you're all over the board, you're likely going to be able to handle a little bit more food, just because you do have some days that you're going to eat in excess. But eating the same amount of food is very different than eating a lot of food one day and not very much the next day, and then a lot of food the next day, and then not very much the next day. You're kind of all over the place, likely because of events. Likely because you ate a lot one day, you aren't as hungry the next day. So it is a little bit harder to get in more food consistently daily. So try to go about the average of what you have been consuming, even if it's 1,000 calories different per day.
Yeah. What did you do on your first date that made it the best?
You gonna tell about our first date?
Sure. So I always leave that question up so people know what we're talking about. So
it wasn't even particularly exactly what we did. It was just It was truly the conversation and the communication, the connection that we had.
We walked around a bunch. Like, where did I picked you up, right?
Yeah, Robert picked me up, and then we went to a restaurant, and we ate
Steelhead Bar and Grill in
Steelhead
Spokane.
Bar and Grill. We ate
Mediterranean salads.
We ate salads
Both
there.
had the same salad. She tried to pay for the salad.
Yeah, I totally tried to like slide my card to the waiter, and Robert was like, "No, that's not happening." But it's the way I roll. So we went and we got the salads, and I had actually just had a surgery, and I was in so much pain. It was awful. I wasn't supposed to be up and walking about and doing all of the stuff. I was supposed to be home resting, but I was like, screw it, we're going. So we ended up walking through the mall in downtown Spokane, and
we got coffee, and then we sat at the Pottery Barn.
No, we didn't get coffee first. We walked around the mall. We were like, let's walk off this food.
I think we had 2 coffees. I think we had a coffee that we were carrying around.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And we went to the Pottery Barn, and they had this big leather couch in the middle of the Pottery Barn in the mall, and we just sat there and talked on the Pottery Barn couch.
Yeah, we talked on the Pottery Barn couch for, quite a while. And then we walked around the mall a little bit, and then we walked into the library for a hot second.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to Atticus, which is a coffee shop around that same area in Spokane, and we got more coffee, and we sat there for quite some time just like talking about life. And I think it was so nice because Robert was asking me like actually deep questions, like things that people don't normally ask you about, like your deepest hopes, your deepest dreams, like wants to know who you are as like at the core, you know?
What is it you desire?
Oh gosh, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Lucifer. But yeah, it was just a really good date. So I suggest if you are a guy out there and you are searching for your person, or if you're a girl out there searching for a person, the right person will ask the right questions. You'll have a connection. It will feel right. And a lot of guys are just dumb. You know, I really hate to say that because a lot of them are also not dumb. But if you get a respectable man who actually wants to care about you and not just your body or whatever else, you will feel it immediately. And it makes a big difference. So don't give in to those yahoos out there.
Love you, baby.
Love you too.
LOL. My wife and I used to date at Waffle House because I was broke.
Yeah.
We were super broke.
Actually, Robert had money at that time because he was working for the railroad, and then we got super broke.
Yeah.
Don't get too caught. No, don't get to catch you guys live often anymore. Glad to catch you today. Well, we're glad you're here too.
Very cool. You both are blessed. We are indeed very blessed.
Yes.
We're very fortunate.
Good question. I'm trying to do a pull-up. How do I progress from can't even do a push-up? Okay.
I would use bands. Use bands to help with like assisted pull-ups.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. If you don't go to a gym and you have a pull-up bar, get a heavy band, like the heaviest band that you can. Put it under your foot or both feet if you can, if you're that talented. But put it under your feet. And then use that band to help assist you. And then go to a lighter band and the lighter band and the lighter band until you can do them yourself. And then just keep pushing it. You can even almost like assist yourself with like a slight jump and then do a negative. So getting up in the position and then like pulling or, allowing yourself to go down really slowly. That's another really great way. If you do have a gym, a lot of gyms have where you can put your knees on that assist, and that's super, super helpful. I think that's how I got better at my pull-ups.
I like it. Here we go. Were you weightlifting before meeting Robert? She was not. She was drinking and smoking, though.
Yeah, this is true. Actually, let me explain that for a second, because a lot of people are misinformed about why I do what I do, and they all think that it's because of Robert. So, as I mentioned before, I had just had a surgery right before Robert and I went on our first date, and my doctor told me, you have to quit smoking. So at that point, I got a vape pen. And I was really trying hard to quit, and I was knocking down my nicotine every time I purchased, the liquid that goes in there. And they told me, like, you have to be healthier. You have to focus on your, what you're eating and your exercise and things like that. That will help a lot. So I already had an open mind to these things. I just didn't know exactly what I was doing. So it's not all Robert. Robert was definitely a great influence, especially as I was trying to adopt a new lifestyle. And a lot of the people that I was hanging around with did not have that lifestyle. So Robert was a great person to have during that time. And I'm super, super grateful for it. But he's not the reason why I do these things.
Correctamundo.
So, Crystal, how good are you
pulling a shot on Real Espresso machine?
Oh, I'm pretty good.
She's pretty good.
It's been a while, though. I worked at a coffee shop when we first moved to Fayetteville. So it's been about 4 years since I've worked at a coffee shop. And it would definitely, I definitely would have to have some practice for sure. But I'm pretty stinking good.
Tommy says, what roughly is the most grams of protein per day would you have one of your typical athletes on? Totally depends on the athlete and where they're at in the prep. I've got some people that are taking in more protein grams than fat grams because their body responds well to it. I've got other athletes that are taking in more fat grams than protein grams because their body responds well to it. So it totally is dependent upon the individual. I'll typically start people at a higher fat ratio, lower protein, and then titrate protein up and fat down to figure out their threshold. And then as they get lower into a deficit and closer to a prep, they'll typically be at a higher fat ratio at that point to keep hormones stabilized and just help from a muscle sparing and energy standpoint.
I can see that, Crystal. LOL. I met 3 bodybuilders in real life, and 2 were just bulky jerks. Ugh, yeah, they were talking about when I told them that you're a tool.
We appreciate you guys going live and fielding questions. We love doing it.
How many carbs are y'all eating now? I'm noticing more salads and veggies. No judgment. I'm just curious. We still stay under about 20 grams of carbs every day. Usually, like throughout the beginning of our day, we will just have meat or, eggs or something like that. And then in the evening is when I have been kind of doing maybe some salads or maybe a vegetable or something like that. But there's plenty of days where we don't have that as well. It's just a lot more of what I share is trying to show you guys a variety because people get really sick and tired of just seeing meat on my plate. So I try to show the variety of things that we eat every once in a while.
Hey guys, I've been keto for 5 years, down 130 pounds.
Wow.
That's awesome. Congrats. What would you suggest for trying to G? What is G? Gain muscle?
Maybe.
What is G?
You guys are the best. Oh, that sounds perfect. That's my ideal date. Maybe more at like a park though, outside. Yeah, that would be
outside
nice.
for quite a bit of it. There's a park right there by the mall.
There's a park right across the street. Yep. Lucifer.
Sonny says,
could you two be any cuter? I love the story of how you two met. Ellen says, my husband said he knew I was the one when I push mowed his lawn as a surprise when he was at work. Oh, that's really sweet.
That is pretty sweet. That is very, very sweet. We got any more questions over there?
I'm definitely a beginner to the workout game. How do I get out of my head about it? I'm very good at talking myself out of it.
You just got to jump. You just got to jump. And there's so many people that are intimidated by the gym. They'll stay on the cardio equipment because everybody knows how to go on a treadmill, but not everybody knows how to do a deadlift. Mm-hmm. You just got to dive in and start with lighter weights and just feel the muscles working. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos. I never had a trainer ever tell me how to do things. I learned how to lift because I'd watch YouTube videos of other pro bodybuilders lifting. And some of those guys do not have good form. So you have to kind of take what they do with a grain of salt. But just simply doing it and then starting out light enough so you're not really going to risk injury, and then just feeling your body work and getting in tune with your body you just got to jump in.
Yeah. And then another thing is just staying consistent. If you say you're going to do it, you should do it. And if you have a hard time or it's easier to convince yourself to, talk yourself out of going, go first thing in the morning, get it done. And then the rest of your day, you are free to do whatever you want to do, but go first thing before you have to go to work or, take care of kids or whatever it is that you have to do.
The G was get off the last belly fat.
Oh, okay.
And
And
I
lift.
lift, and they do lift.
Yeah.
So the last little bit of belly fat is always going to be the last bit of fat that comes off. It's kind of like an evolutionary protective mechanism to protect all of our organs. So when you're losing body fats, your belly and your whole central region around your organs is always going to be the last little bit to come off, generally speaking. That and like your butt, your legs, thighs, stuff like that. So that will come off. It's just like you have to just keep pushing a little bit. You don't want to be in a chronic, deficit or anything like that. So I don't know where you've been calorically speaking over the past several months, but it's just going to be the last piece that does come off.
Thank you for telling your story again, Crystal. The community doesn't give you enough credit with how far you have come. You truly are so inspirational. I see you as a great role model for myself. Don't make me cry, okay?
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
That was really sweet. Is it possible to build muscle on keto if you are an ectomorph? I need a minimum of 3,000 calories a day. I don't know if that's reachable.
You can definitely build muscle. I'm an ectomorph. So I was 115 pounds when I started working out. I'm definitely not genetically predisposed to have a lot of muscle. You just have to eat more. You have to lift heavier, more intensely, and it just takes time to build muscle. But yeah, you can 100% do it with keto just as you could with any other diet.
I learned how to lift through muscle mags back in the day, Ellen said.
There you go.
I learned how to lift. I hired a trainer. They didn't really train me. They gave me a nutrition plan, and then they gave me a workout plan, but did not give me any guidance whatsoever. It was kind of awful. But when I did have the exercises, I would just look it up, and then I just followed through with what the exercises said. And that is actually a pretty good way of doing it, is like if you have a plan and then just watching videos on how to do it.
Thanks. And you guys are a handsome couple. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Is egg white protein really less absorbing and efficient than eating meat? I like Maria Emmerich's egg white protein bread and pudding.
Any protein like powder definitely is. It's not going to be as easily absorbed as something like a rare piece of meat or something like that, but it's not bad.
The protein powder is going to be more easily absorbed. Like it absorbs more quickly because it's pretty much broken down.
But it's not going to be used as efficiently.
Right. It's not as high a quality a complex amino acid blend, especially like egg white protein is great, but it's a pretty simple protein source. Like I like more whole foods when it relates to protein. I'm sure Maria would say that too. Like she would always advocate whole foods as opposed to supplements.
We have been wanting to buy some of that egg white protein though and try that bread. We have not done it yet.
It looks really good.
We really, really want to try it. So I think it's totally fine to enjoy some of that, but also just make sure that you're getting in plenty of meat as well.
We got a boogie here soon, so let's wrap these up here.
Who's your favorite bodybuilder to watch?
I like a lot of the bodybuilders from the 90s. Like I love like Flex Wheeler. Flex Wheeler was freaking awesome. You want to go way back, Frank Zane was great. Current bodybuilders, I really like Classic Physique Champ. I've just drawn a blank on his name.
It's got an interesting name.
Chris Bumstead.
Oh, that's
you're
not
thinking
the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Bumstead.
If increasing protein intake, should I lower fat at the same time?
Depends on a lot of factors, but not necessarily. That's probably not the answer you're looking for, but definitely not necessarily.
I feel bad for not knowing. This came up on my calendar, and they said Happy Yom Kippur. Kippur.
Yep.
What is this? I should look this up. I really need to look it up. I'm so sorry. I learned better form for arm exercises from Crystal's posts. LOL. Screenshot the caption of the routine to get to my camera roll. That's perfect. Thank you. If my last meal is at 9 p.m., then I work out at 2 to 4 p.m. The next day, fasted, then eat after that. What do you think? That's totally fine.
Especially as many calories as you're eating. I mean,
that was going to be my only thing, is making sure that you can get in enough calories in that
right now he's eating like 3,700 calories.
Yeah.
So he's solid. You're solid, man.
Do you still drink coffee butter?
We
I'm
don't really do a
thinking
lot of
butter
butter
in
in
your
our
coffee. We haven't done that for years. A lot of people do it.
We're not opposed to it.
We're not opposed to it, but we just don't really need to find extra sources of fat to get in. We already have really great sources, and I have no need to put butter in my coffee.
If we didn't eat the bricks, we may put butter in our coffee. But
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, we eat pretty fatty cuts of meat. We eat a brick a
Mhm.
day, so pretty good. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we got to go to a meeting. I've also got to run still today. But always a pleasure jumping on and chit chatting with y'all. We love you, and we'll talk
Yep.
to you soon. Take care. Toodaloo, ta ta for now.